All right, it's happening. This is hello everyone. First of all, I know it's strange because both of us are doing this on our no, I'm doing this on the phone. Pimpy is
Me too.
not. Hi Pimpy.
Hi, sweetie. How are you?
Uh, I'm very well. I'm not really very well, but yeah, we say yeah, it's long story. What I want to say is this.
Wait,
First of
real quick,
all,
real quick. I
yeah,
just want
yeah.
to say thank you for
Mm,
sending me that video of you and was it Warsaw?
mm,
Okay. Yeah. First of all, you're absolutely stunning in there. But the whole video, just so you know, I have not had that Christmas feeling. I don't know how to explain it. I haven't had a Christmas feeling in decades. And I'm watching your video, and you see the scenery, and you have that beautiful music in the background. And the whole time I was there, I go, "Oh wow, I feel Christmassy," which is weird because I haven't had it in so long. There's just something about that, looking at those buildings, looking at the
yeah,
trees, seeing the people walk
yeah.
around, hearing the music. It was awesome, just so you know.
Thank you, Pimp. This is I'm learning how to put those travel vlogs videos together, but I am very intentional with the music I choose, and it's like an extension of my heart and my energy. So I'm really I think with time I will really get better doing this. But
Well, that's not good.
anyway,
That is actually really good. The fact that you can even make me feel any form of Christmas, which is a whole
emotion.
more than anything. But for like a moment there, I was like, I haven't felt
Thank
Christmassy in a
you.
long time. So it's nice.
Thank you. Yeah, I actually Warsaw was spectacular with decorations, I have to tell
They
you.
kept the practice.
Amazing. Yeah, you feel
Yeah.
it. And so before we start today, I want to ask everyone to follow me on Instagram, please. It's important for me. It means a lot to me. And also join my mailing list, which is down below. And you can check Pimpy's channel if you don't know yet, is down below, and every other link to Pimpy is down below. And here we are. The year is ending, and I was thinking what I want to ask Pimpy because I had those questions for a while and some are new. Before I jump into the questions, I was listening actually this morning to an interview that was on Robert Kiyosaki Rich Dad Poor Dad channel.
Yes.
And I listen to certain financial channels quite frequently because I like to have an awareness. I'm very spiritual, very in tune with this higher self. However, I'm still existing in this reality. So I want to balance that. And here are some statistics. And I want to start with this Pimpy and we go from there. So the recent statistics are 78% of people in the United States are living paycheck to paycheck, and 65 of percent of people in US, as I understand from those statistics, could only come up with extra $500 for some emergency. So now we are heading into this 2022 absolute disaster what they are doing to United States and all around the world pretty much. People work their whole lives, they have all those pension plans, 401ks, yada yada yada. So how do you see this coming in the next year? What is your feeling? What is your sense when you're watching this?
So a couple of things. So 78% living paycheck to paycheck. I agree. 65 or 68% of them having $500. I don't agree with. I think it's probably way lower than that. Just because people can't afford to live um, the way they are and have any type of savings, and it's all by design. I really believe that. Here's my thing. I was talking to my aunt about the fact that my father and mother at one time they owned 5 houses. They had five of them. They had rental property. And I said, good Lord, can you imagine trying to own 5 properties a day? I said, how did they do this? They go, well, your dad worked. I was like, what about my mom? She goes, no, she was a housewife. You can't do that no more. It's
One
almost
person.
impossible. Yeah, it's almost impossible. And not just that, it's to the point now where even your young adult children can't go out and make it on their own. My friend Helen, right at this moment, right? Her kids are older. One got married and they just had a baby. They still live at home. They're trying to go out and get an apartment. They can't afford it. The apartment rent now is more than a mortgage. It's terrible. But here, I'll give you the same response I give to everybody else. These people can only get away with as much as we allow them to. It's we, the people, are supposed to be the ones in control of our government. In other words, we're supposed to monitor them. We're supposed to make sure that they're doing what we elected them to do. And they're not. And people are so, they just don't care, it appears. You'll sit at home and complain, but they won't be proactive. You know, I think we are at the point right now, I do, that people are tired of it. So I'll give you one more example here. So the people in Australia, God bless them all, they are going through hell right now. They really are. I talked to so many people from Australia, and I just keep saying, you know, when is enough enough? You know, you want to be able to protest peacefully, but when do you get to a point? What is the people's criteria where you go, when we get to this point, then it's no longer about being peaceful. It's about fighting to survive against the people who are considering themselves the so-called elite. So what is that line? When do we get there? I mean, when they start throwing you in internment camps, well, it's already happening. When they start forcing you to have what looks like passports, well, it's already happened. When they start forcing you to take that injection in the arm, it's already happening. When they do it to your kids without your permission, it's already happening. When they, you know, put you in lockdown and you lose your jobs and small businesses are closing, forcing us into these bigger corporations, it's already happening. How much longer and how much more and what is it going to take before you say, you know what, this is it, I'm done, I'm not doing this no more, it's time for us to do something about it. The problem is everybody's talking and talk, and you got people protesting because they want this to end peacefully. But my thing has always been, oh, I agree, it should be handled peacefully. But when does it go from being peaceful to us saying, hey, we've had enough, and then doing something about it? Because I've been trying to get the answer to that. I think what it is people are afraid of what that next level is. You know what I mean? But meanwhile, the more you sit back and like this, they get further and further and further along into this movement, whatever it is.
I see what you're saying, and I see there are two parallel roads to freedom. Now, that is one, but there's another one that I see now, how people can, within this events, within this very, very sick events and reality, take care, remove themselves as much as possible, right, from those systems. So let's get practical here, Pimpy, because, and I repeat this every single time we have conversation, if not me coming across your videos almost 2 years ago now, it will be 2 years next year, I will not be having a single ounce of silver or gold, and I do, because I listen, and you have this gift of explaining things in such a simple way that it's just very easy to absorb, and I just act on it. So I started to do that. So thank you again for this, because it cumulates, right? It cumulates. Okay, so we know gold and silver will protect money if everything goes, if the bleep hits the fan, okay? Now, 401ks and those pension plans that many people, and I've been there, I don't have 401k, I used to have, but I realized like no one even, a lot of people don't even look at this, what the company was doing with their money. They just take the money from them and they invest and trade and whatever, and they have no idea what stocks they were trading, what's the value, none of it. And they are just, oh, I have 401k, the time comes, you know, the social security, whatever. It's not going to be like this. It's not.
I mean, every year, I mean, the cost of living doesn't match what we should get. There's people that, you know, were living in their so-called golden ages. It's not even golden age anymore. You know, for years, I've been warning people about the billings. I've been preaching about it for years. And now you're starting to see a lot of other people going, look, they're anticipating the billing. For those of you who don't know what a billing is, In 2008, around that time here in the United States, these so-called too big to fail banks failed. And we had to do what was called a bailout. We bailed out the bankers, even though the nice executives got huge, huge $1 million bonuses, the taxpayers. And then when people found out that they got these huge bonuses, well, we raised heck then. And then what happened was they passed a law. This is what they do, these politicians. They make it sound like they hear our voices, and then they're going to pass something to protect us. So they made it illegal for us to bail out banks again. Yay, sounds all good. But what you didn't see in the writing is they won't do a bailout, but they do a bail-in. For those of you who don't know what a bail-in is, all the money that you have in the bank, all of it, checking, savings, 401ks, anything like that, they literally take all your money from you, all of it. And then what happens is you become a shareholder in that bank.
Yes.
And once the bank has recovered, eventually you get your money back if the bank recovers. The odds are these banks aren't going to recover. So people
That's
go,
right.
I got FDIC, there's insurance. Well, a couple of things about that. If you're anybody that has over the insured amount, which here in the United States, it was 250, they dropped it down to 200,000. So let's say
200,000. Oh, sorry, one second, Pimpy. $200,000 in US,
$200,000.
right?
It used to be 250, it's 200,000 now.
Okay.
So yay, if I got 10 million in the bank and they take it all while I'm insured for 200,000, that seems like a fair swap, doesn't it? No. And here's the other kicker. If you go look at the kitty, the pool of money that the FDIC has, they can't cover us. There's zero money left because the people who get paid first, again, when politicians say, hey, we're going to do something for you, they never do. They don't like us. They never did. Okay, so here's the thing. There's not enough money because by the time you pay out the derivatives and everything else, there's $0 left. Zero. Not to mention that when you try to rush to the bank, it's called a bank run, and get your money out before they do this. If you catch any kind of wind of it, well, then they have what's called a bank holiday. It's made up. In other words, they close all the banks down and they take your money. So when the banks reopen, they'll allow you access to some of your money. Some of your money. You can take out a maximum of $300, I think it is a day, maybe. Depends on how big this event is. If you have other bills to pay, they don't care. What about feeding my kids? Don't care. I have a mortgage. Don't care. They don't care. This is a plan. It's all by plan. It's all by design. So I tell people just to be on the safe side, look, calculate how much you pay in bills every month. Every month, your normal bills. And then add on 10%. Then put that money, take it out of the bank and have it somewhere hidden, safe in your house. So when this happens, you at least have 6 months worth of bills until everybody figures out what's going on. Now, I did a video called The Lessons from Cyprus when I showed everybody where they did the practice run, which was in Cyprus. They took everybody's money.
Yes.
Everybody's money. I said, that's it. I told everybody, look, that is a testing ground for what they're going to do. Yeah. Now, recently, the banks have been sending out notices to people saying, hey, you guys, just a friendly reminder, this is what a bail-in is. I go, why are they sending out reminders to everybody about what a bail-in is?
Who sent you this? What bank?
No, not just mine is Wells Fargo. I already knew about it. I got mine, but other of my subscribers sent me their letters from all the different banks, even a credit union, which I was shocked to see, because we find out that the credit union actually is a satellite of the bigger bank. So that's one thing that people go, well, I mean, if you read what a bail-in is, it doesn't touch these independent banks. It says only banks that make over X amount of dollars. Well, here's the thing. We did a lot of merging in the 80s, and we continued all the way through the 90s, all the way through the 2000s. So some of these banks that you think are independent, they're not. You need to research to figure out that you might be a satellite of one of these bigger banks. They just didn't change the name of your bank, okay? Now, you brought up something interesting, the 401ks. They invest money into whatever. We see what's happened over in China with Evergrande. That's a disaster. We have so many pension funds here in the United States, invested into Evergrande, and as well as this, it's a, what is it called? The Asian Investment Group is who they are. And the top 3 major real estate developers over there, well, they were making billions and billions of dollars at one time. So people wanted to invest in it. It was a great growth opportunity. The problem is now they're failing. They're going to collapse. All 3 of the biggest developers over there are collapsing, not just Evergrande. So to show you how messed up this is, what your 401k banks are not telling you is, even after they were aware that these companies were going to fail, they invested more of your money into them, trying to keep them afloat, and it didn't work. So people are going, oh, Pimpy, it's great. The market's great, man. My 401ks never look so big. Yeah, it's artificially big. It's artificially inflated. What I'm warning you is this. These are all bubbles. We have a bond bubble, a real estate bubble, a stock bubble. These are all going to pop, and cryptocurrency bubble as well. So these bubbles are going to pop. It's going to be a huge market correction. Everything right now, everything is overvalued because our dollar doesn't have the same purchasing power. It looks like, oh, my house is worth X amount of dollars. This is great. No, it's not. It's not that your house is worth that much. It's that the dollars that you use to buy the house are worth that little. So my advice is and always is to people, if you don't protect yourself, you're going to lose everything once this market crashes. So take 25, 30% of your money, invest it into gold and silver. It's protect yourself. It is, because once the market crashes, sure, gold and silver go down slightly, but then they rebound super quick. I've done videos showing people on the graphs, look, they do take a dip. So when it takes, you know, stock market years to recover, years, gold and silver recovers usually within a couple of months. And what I mean by recover is get back to the original amount before the crash. So if silver was $20 and then we had a crash and it drops down to $2, I'm just making this up. So it goes from 20 to $2, usually within 2 months, 3 months, it gets back up to the 20 and then continues to shoot up. And I don't mean like a little, go to 20, 40, 60, $80. Gold's the same way, but by the thousands. Stock market, our last major drop, well, I wouldn't call it a major bump in March 2020 when we did the whole Rona thing. It took them almost 9 months for them just to get back to that one level. But if you go back to the 2008 crash, it went from 2008 to almost toward the end of 2011, going into 2012. Years for it to recover.
Yes, with real estate, the same. I'm sorry to interrupt you. With real estate, the same with real estate. Exactly. The homes. And when I was in Vegas in the time, you were in California too, probably. So we were both in those states that were very heavily affected. Arizona and those places where people put so much, they had so many homes for rent, like, you know, they made business, right? So I remember one day the house next to me was $700,000, $800,000. The next day was 230.
Yep.
And then a few days later, it was bank owned. And then I just saw those, you know, papers on the doors from the bank. And it's true, 2008, 2009. And then slowly it was getting up in 2000, I would say 12, like early 2012, and then went up. Real estate. So Pimpy, that's good that you said, I just want to say this because that's good reminder, like even for me, I was never savvy into this and I'm learning this. So when the stock market will crash, everything pretty much. And actually it's interesting because Kiyosaki said the same today. And I was like, what does he mean? Gold will go down and silver will go down. I was like, no, because I didn't understand. And now you're saying the same thing. Everything will go down.
Everything goes down at first. Here's why gold and silver go down, but gold and silver go down for the wrong, or different reasons. So when everybody's panicking and they have no money, well, what do? You start liquidating your stocks, bonds, your gold, and your silver. So the market gets saturated with these assets. Of course, think supply, demand, the values go down. But what happens is people who can start snagging up all of the gold and silver. It doesn't take long before it starts shooting up. So they're moving out of risky investments and then they run over into gold and silver. So the first people to sell their gold and silver, of course, are the poorest of the poor. That's what happens. And the sharks are swimming around waiting for it to get to a level where they know other people can't buy it, and they just start grabbing it all up. Of course, then the value goes up because there's not enough. For the record, there already is a worldwide shortage on gold and silver. It's been
Yes.
operating in deficit.
Yep. I
So
testify
if you
here.
can find a way to hang on, no matter how desperate you get, hold on to those precious metals. Do anything and everything you can, and just wait. Once that wave goes up, oh my God, this time is different than ever before. This is a worldwide event. Not only that, you want something outside of the system. So here's what people are doing. This is what rich people do. I know, I talk to them all the time. And I heard Robert Kiyosaki talk about the same thing. They love market crashes. Yes, heck yeah, you do. Why? Because this is how the rich get richer. So what they're doing already now, we see them positioning themselves. What are they doing? Well, pay attention to it. You can Google this. Look at all the different CEOs selling their stocks right now in their own companies. They are liquidating a lot of their assets. They put it into a type of investment that they can liquidate real quick. Gold, silver, paintings, collectibles. Why? Because first of all, you can carry those with you if you had to. Okay. Two, it's out of the system. They don't keep, rich people do not keep money in their bank. I think a lot of people would be shocked. You talk to real millionaires, you say, do you keep your money in the bank? They're like, no, they don't trust the banks. They don't keep their money in the bank. It's in different types of investments, so they don't keep their money in the bank. So whether they got the actual crappy fiat dollar in their safe, or they got mostly gold and silver and collectibles, once the market crashes, they wait to get down the other side. And so they sold all their stuff when it was at the peak of value, stocks, bonds, anything like that. They sell them, and then they wait. And when the market crashes, they wait till it levels out, and then they start buying up everything. So this is how the rich get richer and the poor get poor. Most of the poor people can't wait out that long. They can't do that. They get panicky, they start selling things because they're not prepared. If you're prepared, if you start preparing now, prepare. You know what makes me sick? You want to hear something that makes me sick? China is telling their citizens to buy gold and silver and stock up on enough food for a year. They are telling their citizens. What is our government doing? Nothing. Russia's telling their citizens, buy gold and silver, stock up on enough food for a year. What is our government doing? Nothing. It just makes me sick that our own government doesn't do the same thing. Buy gold and silver. Less than 5% of the people invest in silver. That's at 5%. 5%. We already have a worldwide shortage. Can you imagine if more people started buying the silver, the value would shoot up?
So, Pimpy, on that note, I want to tell you from literally my own experience here in Poland. Again, you remember some time ago when we were talking, I told you when I was in Poland, I was buying gold, remember?
Yes.
So I came back here and I continue, right? I continue. Yes. I'm like, we just go on. We just take some money out of the bank and, one day, another day, bit by bit, right? So I go to my place, to this incredible place that is amazing customer service and like the best ever. And they say, you know what? We are short of gold. I'm not buying silver here because silver is 20-some% VAT tax on it. I'm buying gold. And she was able to get like some leftovers, literally. The demand is like, it's just, they don't have it, okay? Another thing, I want to tell you this is interesting.
Did you see the value on the spot market, right? That's how you know it's manipulated and it's a lie. Don't believe what you see on the market. That's not the true value of gold and silver. You're doing the right thing. You know this. Don't let what they say in the paper market fool you. The real value is going to come out.
So another thing, this is interesting, and I want to tell you this because I wasn't aware of it. So she said to me that starting from the next year, the government already gave them a regulation, like an order, that they have to report over a certain amount of Like you cannot come with cash like I do and buy a certain amount of gold. It will be almost like half of it right now. Okay, like half of it. And the rest you can put on credit card or something so they can see who is buying. At this point, they still cannot fully track that if you come with cash. So I didn't know it.
You got to ask yourself why. Why did they care? Why are they tracking?
I have no idea, but that's
because I think they planned a confiscation, but how can you confiscate? There's not enough resources. They'll just keep threatening people with letters, and most people get scared and sell. I wouldn't. I'm not going to.
I think what it does, it will. When I think logically, right? As much as I can, if there's any logic in this evil plan, I think what they want to do, they want to slow down the purchase of precious metal, well, gold in Poland especially, because they know there will be less people coming and buying if they do such a thing.
Discourage them,
because
that's what they're trying to do.
Discourage, exactly, that's the word, discourage them.
Also keep in mind this, we need a minimum every year, a minimum worldwide of 1 billion ounces of silver. That's the demand worldwide. You need a minimum. We've been in deficit now since 2014. Deficit, meaning we are not able to keep up with the demand. Now, if the more people become educated, more people than ever before are buying silver. Still, 5% of the people is not enough. It should be higher, but they're buying silver. Enough when we did the silver squeeze that we almost collapsed the silver market. We were this close. People don't know how close we were. But here's my thing. If everybody is buying up the silver and there's only 5% of us, and we have a worldwide shortage, you have to keep in mind how they want to move us into this so-called Green New Deal. And this is worldwide. They cannot function without silver. Silver for the cars, silver for your cell phones, silver for your computers, silver for your solar panels. There's not enough silver. So what do? Either you pay the people the true value, or you just take it from them. They're going to try taking. That's why you need more people investing in it. The more, the better. So this way, when they go to confiscate, you'll start a revolution is what'll happen. I mean, I still think it's going to happen anyways, this revolution. This person brought something up about Australia that made me laugh. If nobody's allowed in unless you had the jab, and nobody's allowed out unless you had the jab, and they live on a dang island, how the heck did Omicron get over there? I was like, oh, that's a good question. That's a good question.
It's a mystery, like all of that is, right? And then we're gonna know it in 55 years. What did you say?
No, that lawyer, that Führer, the guy that's been going after people for the Nuremberg violations. Mm-hmm. They haven't. They're done. German, right now going. Yeah,
the German guy. He's brilliant. So like he's brilliant. Yeah.
I think he has over 1,200 doctors and scientists willing to testify on his behalf. So now he's starting his approach. So it just launched, I think it was last week. We'll see where it goes. When he first laid it out real quickly, just in press statements, I was like, oh, he made it look too easy. He goes, not only are we going after you for this, we're going after you for this, this, and this. We can prove that we have science on our side. So when they say trust the science, yeah, let's trust the science. We have actual proof. So I'm wondering how long they're going to allow this guy to get away with it before they go after him. I know one of the judges that he had his first case with agreed to hear the evidence, which is a no-no. And he unfortunately woke up dead one morning. So, but that's what they're willing to do at this point. They don't care. They don't have no problems with killing people. Their goal is to reduce the world's population by any means necessary. So, but I do hope he brings a lot of truth out to light. You could go right now, Google the number of plane crashes that we see every day. I'm talking about, small plane crashes, where people having heart attacks. You could go watch the number. It's well over 300 now. Professional athletes in the ages of 20s and 30s who are healthy as could be, all having heart attacks and strokes on the field after getting the injection. So yeah, that's where we are in this world right now. If you're not prepared for what's coming, then man, just
You
the
know,
thought,
Pimpy, I know that there is a higher plan that our soul
yes,
and God has for us. If we are still here, still having this conversation, still standing, still breathing, still able to, like, even for me, because you can find the ways to travel without it. You can, like I was explaining to people. People still don't believe. Some people still like, no, she took it, she did this, she that. I don't need to explain to everyone if they
right,
don't understand, if they don't do the research, if they don't believe in my testimony, in my experience. I mean, then don't. It's fine. But my point is this. Let's now talk about, someone kept asking me this, and I always forget to ask you these questions. It's about med beds, because you had several videos about med beds, and someone asked me this: what materials are used in production of med beds? And well, those are the ones we should really keep an eye on, right?
So there's all kinds of stories about med beds out there, some of them way out in left field. It's not that I doubt that they exist. You know how I am. I'm not going to talk about things that I can't prove. So I did play a series of videos in which these people were talking about med beds, but what they were talking about, some of the things I knew already. So when I heard him talk about it, I said, oh, that's very interesting. I am aware of that, but I didn't know other people were aware of this. The other thing is I was like, no, that's a little kooky way out in left field.
Oh, someone's
Sorry,
calling.
the Tesla bed right now, that's real. It's out there now. And so I've read.
Wait. Can you say again?
What I asked for is
Pimpy, can you say
permission.
again? Can you say again?
Can you hear
Because
me?
the voice has changed now.
Hold on one
If
second.
if you can say,
somewhere I lost the room.
it was perfect
Can you hear
connection
me?
before. Yeah,
I
but
can't hear
just
you.
I can hear you.
Somehow I lost your volume.
Oh, it's
Your
good.
Bluetooth.
It's good. It's good. I hear you.
I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Mhm.
I don't know why I can't hear you.
I hear
Okay,
you.
so whoever just tried to call me and left a voicemail, hopefully now that they're done, I should be able to hear you, hopefully.
Okay.
So
Okay.
when it comes to so I found out there's all kinds of so-called med beds, just different methodologies out there. Okay, so some of these beds are real, but they affect people in a different way. I met a doctor in Fresno. Her name is Diana. I have a hard time pronouncing. She's gonna kick my butt for this, but her last name. I'll send it to you so you can leave the link. The heels. I think I can't. I don't know why I'm spacing it. She's so gonna kick my butt. You don't even know. So I went to go to her room. So she uses it's a type of it's like a pitchfork tuning to diagnose you. And then she uses sound vibrations, which I'm a huge fan of, by the way. Huge fan.
Me too.
So she uses sound vibrations to heal people. Now she's healed a lot of people with PTSD, and which is really, really hard to do. I mean, she's fixed a lot of people. And then, but when you first, if you're not open-minded, the first time you go into the treatment, you might be like, what the heck is this? You can't do that. You have to go in there and go, and just tell yourself, whatever's happening, have faith that it's going to happen. Well, she played these, they're called vibrating bowls. And she did this sound. My whole body charged up. I kept looking at my hands. And I was with my friend Ron. We call him Doc. Ron's like, what's wrong? I go, this thing is charging. You could feel it charge my entire body. And my hands, though, just felt like, very powerful. I was like, what is this feeling? This is unbelievable. So when I was done with her, I went to do a little research because for some reason I kept seeing Hopi Indians, Apache Indians, and I really felt like I was being shown something for a reason. Well, what I found out is a lot of the Hopi Indians, they would go around to different caves and listen to the acoustic. When they found a cave that they knew was perfect, when people were sick, they would bring them in there and lay them down,
Wow.
and they would do these chants, and the acoustic would cause a vibration, and it would heal people that way. So this is why I'm a huge fan of that. People don't realize all your vision when you see people, they're just a, you know, that is your interpretation of that person's vibrational pattern. You want to hear something that's really freaky?
Oh, wait, Pimpy, wait.
Okay.
Before you
I still
completely
can't hear you, so just so you know.
Pimpy, can you hear me?
I don't know why I can't hear you. That's really weird. Let me see if I can.
Okay. This is the strangest interview. Can you hear me? I will text you my question. Okay.
I heard you.
You heard me? Wait. Okay. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Brilliant. I can text the question too. What an interview.
There you are. I can hear you a little bit. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Let's speak. I can hear you a little bit.
Okay. I'm typing the question. Okay.
What?
I am typing the questions. Here we go.
You're coming through my phone, not my headset.
Okay. Can you hear me? I just typed you the question again.
Hold on. I think I know what's wrong.
Okay, this is real life.
Give me a second.
Okay, let's see. The battery is still there. Okay.
All right. You there?
Yep. Yes.
There you go. Good? So when a person.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Wait. Let me speak now when I can.
Go ahead.
Pimpy, please don't sidetrack too much because I really want to know, because before you forget, what material those med beds, whatever, there are different kinds. I know it depends.
Yes,
okay. Kinds. What is the material? Because I'm like, this is the material, the metal we should focus on, so right?
The Tesla bed has a Tesla coil. And
Tesla coil.
Tesla coil. And it's a real bed. You can look this up. It's called a Tesla bed. It's real. You could buy it. As a matter of fact, there's people that you could reach out to, set up appointments, and use their beds. So they're real. They're out there. So I'm not sure what makes the material up, but it's there. All right. There's a gentleman in Iran. He's a doctor. He puts you in these pods, but he squares up and down. It will heal the entire body of a variety of different types of sicknesses, but even it uses a type of vibrational pattern. Now, I'm interested in that guy and I'm going to try to reach out to him, but I did hear from two people who went there and said this guy made a lot of promises, and when we tried to set up an appointment with him, he never did let us come. So I'm hoping that's just it's an exception to the reality of things. You know what I mean? Like, well, maybe something happened to those two people, but I can only go by what I know. So I do believe there's med beds there, and there's different types. So for every 1 year that we advance in technology, our military advances 44 years. All right, so that's the truth. We know there are forms of med beds out there. What are they made of? It's hard to say. There's different types of material. We know. Lord, sorry about that. Are you muted again?
It's okay. Yes, I hear you.
There you go. So we know that the Tesla coils, you can look it up. It's called a Tesla med bed. It's out there. It's real. And a lot of people swear by it. But it's like a material you buy that you put underneath the bed. Okay. And so when you're sleeping, it works on your body. So I could have swore I did a video on that. Maybe I didn't. But yeah, I did. Actually, I did in this video on that one. So they're there. What the material? There's different types of material. Most of them that are successful that I'm aware of, all those ones have something to do with the using a type of vibration as what's the more successful ones. Okay, so Diana over there in Fresno, she's gonna kick my butt. Oh my God, she uses these sound bowls. I love it. It made me feel. It really put me at peace. So the way she sets everything up, and you go in there and do what you need to do. People go, well, did it heal you? Well, here's my thing. I'm not so sure that I had anything that needed heal, but it definitely put me at peace. And then
it tunes your frequency back. It tunes you. It's like when you align the chakras. This is the
yes,
same thing. It's like
the
when you align the
chakras.
chakras.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
When you
Oh, it
align the
lit them up.
chakras, yeah.
Oh, it lit them all up. What she
Yes,
was doing.
because they
Ooh,
are off. That's what happens
yes.
to us. They are off, and this there's literally like this pure line. It's incredible. Like I've experienced this, and I know mine now are a little off. But yeah, anyway,
Once your chakras are off, then you're off. So whether it's
yeah,
whether it's a physical health, mental health, whatever it is, but if you get them lined back up, not only does this method line them up, but it charges your chakras. My hands, I told everybody, she's like, she goes, can I feel your hands? And when I grabbed them, she was like, yeah, wow. She says you can feel it through her body. So it's like I go, not to get too super religious, but we all know that Jesus used to charge his own chakras up before he did a lot of healing. So I was like, yeah, whatever method she had, these bowls or these sound bowls, and each one had a different pitch. And when she played them, at first you could hear the sound. It just kept amplifying until my body was vibrating with the vibrations coming off the bowl. So together, like, so it started off as a sound, and then it expanded, and then my whole body was together. It's unbelievable. I loved it.
But this is the true power of creating too, through the sound. It's through the frequency. That's
the frequencies,
how.
Yes.
Yes, through the frequency. It's incredible. And this
That's
actually was
the Hopi Indians. I mean, when they were walking around looking for not any cave, it had to be a specific type of acoustic in order for them to be successful. If you go look at a hospital called Bumrungrad, they have what's called, it's a medicine-less hospital. They use chanting to heal people, and it works.
Yes, chanting, right.
Yeah, they have a video of a person with the tumor. They caught it, real-time picture. They did a still frame. Then next to it, you see the live frame. And the doctors would come over and they would chant over it, and they just use this vibration. They make this noise, and it shrunk, got rid of the tumor right there on camera. We saw it live on camera.
Yep. Yep. So, but another thing, Pimpy, before we end this topic, it just reminded me of something. I remember some time ago I came across a monastery. I think it was in India, and it was on the website. And what they were doing, and that was actually quite legit, because I was doing some research and I saw how many people benefited from this. So people were sending them requests for the prayers, and that prayer, we are talking like 1,000 miles away from the patient or requesting person location. And they were, like you say, they were chanting certain sound and prayer over that request, and they were either healing or like resolving the situation. It's like that's the whole point. Like, you don't even have to be physically present if there is an intention and certain frequency that's created, and it goes out.
Well, it goes back to, people got to understand how in tune all of us are together, and for us to the planet. That's not possible if you're not in tune with the planet. That's like sending a message, so to speak. Edgar Cayce could diagnose people in other states and tell people what was wrong with them and then fix them. He didn't even have to be present. Here's something else. You brought up churches. You realize the first churches that were ever built, the first ones, they were built and designed a certain way to make an acoustic sound, so that when the monks came in and they chanted, that vibration would be healing to the people while they were there. Oh, you want to hear something crazy that'll blow your mind a little bit? So I say it this way, but people are going to go, what the hell did he just say? I tell you, talk to God and Jesus. So me and Jesus had a conversation. We're talking about the pain and suffering that mothers go through giving birth. It's really, really draining and dramatic to the body. And Jesus just said, well, that's why the bond between the mother and the baby is really important, because the baby heals the mother. I was like, wait, what? Because the baby, got to remember, is coming new to the world. There's nothing blocking it from its ability. The bond between the mother and the baby is necessary because the body has gone through so much drama, so much trauma. I mean, it's really torn apart. But when the mother bonds with the baby is healing the mother. And I was like, oh my God, I would have never thought of that. He's like, why would you? And I was like, but I mean, okay, I get it now. He was like, yeah, the baby heals. That's why when people pick up babies, they feel a certain way. There's no way to explain it. There's something about the baby. Well, the baby's healing people. You know what I mean? It's not,
Yes, it's
people going
pure.
in there.
It's
Yes,
pure frequency. It's pure love, but it's also
yes,
the energy is so pure. It's
yes.
it's not it's not loaded with any of it.
So mothers, it's really important you find a way to bond with that baby. I understand there's some women who can't. I get that. But the baby is actually healing the mother the whole time, her body. You know what I mean? As they're bonding. Anyways, I thought it was an interesting lesson I would share with you.
Thank you, Pimpy. But you know what? I don't have children, but I feel the same about dogs. Puppies heal us.
Me
Puppies
and
heal us too.
you, yes, you and I both. My little.
There we go. Someone's calling.
Here we go. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Trying to...
So Pimpy, very popular, like in the White House. So okay, I want to ask you two more questions. First one is,
Sure.
What's happening with like let's just say in 2022, like if we know what's the value of this Iraqi dinar, are we gonna have some profit from those dinars? I don't even think about it much. I put it aside, but I know a lot of people have some dinars. So what do you think is gonna happen? Are we gonna trade it for something or no?
So here's what I tell people. We don't do dates or rates, but I can tell you this. Al Kazemi, all right? This man has put him and his government. They put Iraq on track big time. They did everything necessary to move forward in a big way. They are on the precipice, if you ask me, the cusp. They're right there. What we're going to learn real quick is what happens once they're totally, because people are like, they're not chapter 7. Sure, back in 2013, they were removed from chapter 7, but not all the restrictions. So how can either you are or you're not. So I don't fall for that. The fact that they're even saying as soon as they paid off the last of the debt, they're going to go ahead and petition to be removed from chapter 7 tells me they're still in chapter 7. Okay, so that's being done now. Once they are out of chapter 7, there's no more chapter 6, in my opinion. Everything has been done. Everything is taken care of. There's no more restrictions.
Can you remind people the chapter 7? Is this with United Nations or what is that?
Yeah, United Nations and the United Security Council. So what happens is this: when the world feels like you are not solving the problems that you started, remember. So when they damage, they affected the government, they affected businesses, they affected people's lives. So the rest of the world decided that, hey, Iraq owes Kuwait, and they came up with a dollar amount. Plus there were other issues, they call them files, other issues that needed to be resolved. Well, Iraq started to, but then got to a point like, I don't care what you guys think, we're not going to deal with this. And so that's where chapter 7 comes in. And chapter 7 forces them to do this. So they took a percentage of their revenues from oil, just took it from them. It's like having your check garnished when you owe child support. So they took the money from the oil sales, they took a percentage of it and put it aside for the compensation. So the compensation was the big thing. That's like the last remaining thing. So, once they're out of chapter 7, so when you're in chapter 7, you can't do any kind of arms buying or dealing for your military. There's restrictions on your currency. There's embargoes and restrictions on your trade as a country. I mean, it really affects your country. So if you remove those things that keep you from growing and flourishing as a country, especially one that's as rich as Iraq, you know what I mean? Then what's going to hold Iraq back? I remember reading an article. It's a little older, it's like 6-7 years old, in which the main person at the time said, somebody asked him about the rate, where it used to be like $3.22, I think it was. And they said, is Iraq lost the value of the currency? He says, there's no reason for them not to be reinstated at the other rate.
There's no reason. They haven't done anything. Nothing's changed economically for them. So the rate should be reinstated. Now, I say that not trying to blow hope up people's butt. I'm just saying that, look, there is a lot of talk about the exchange rate. We don't know. We're waiting for them to officially announce them out of Chapter 7. Then we're going to see what happens. So we need Sauter to put in his government because that's a big deal. So Sauter's kind of, we don't know what direction he's going into. We know he's a nationalist. He loves this country, and anything he and everything he does is going to be about what's best for Iraq. He's like the Iraqi Trump, so to speak. He's
Okay.
focused on his people to the point where it pisses Iran off because he's part of the Shiite group that is, backed by Iran. Except for Sauter's not about being about Iran. He's all about Iraq, and to the point where it pisses off Iran. So what it comes down to, I guess the long way to answer it is this. We will know a whole lot more coming up here real soon. I still think they need to develop more of the private sector, which is being done quickly. But the fact that money that they're taking from them out of the oil every month, that now goes back to Iraq. That means they can rebuild their country. Infrastructure is going to be done quicker. I mean, this is people, less people on unemployment, more people paying taxes. This is going to give them a stronger economy, which is what they need. That's how you get the value of your currency, is a strong economy, stability, security, sovereignty. That's trade. That we know they're going through the World Trade Organization. So 2022, I think you're going to see, an increase. I think they're going to go up in increments, not one big. Now, just because I say that doesn't mean that an RI or RV isn't going to happen. I just think because you don't want to shock the economy all at once.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We know that when they devalued the dinar, it affected the poor. It hurt the economy. Everything is way more expensive, right? You can't just shock your economy like that. You have to do it in small increments. I think they're going to go up a lot quicker than people know. But I mean, an RI and an RV would be good. But right now, it's a great time to be owning the dinar. I'm just sitting there waiting because it's going to happen sooner or later. You're going to start seeing the values jump up. That's just my opinion, though.
Okay.
I don't want to commit to it happening in 2022. It's not that I can't. We need to see what's going to happen with Chapter 7.
Okay. So, Pimpy, the final thing is your prediction for gold, silver, and real estate in 2022.
So I thought by the end of this year, gold would have been somewhere around 2,000, 2,200. They're still trying to knock it down.
I remember when you said it.
I said silver should be somewhere between $28 and $30. I'm still feel confident about that for some reason, even though we're like 1 or 2 days away here. But the market started to, you could see a huge demand and push at the end of this year for gold and silver. So 2022.
Let's say in a year from now, Pimpy, when we talk in a year from now, it's December 2022. Where are we?
If they could somehow, some way manage to still keep this economy afloat, which I don't think is going to happen, I'm watching Evergrande. That's going to start a domino effect.
So let's say with crash or without crash, because we have two scenarios, okay, right?
Yeah. So once this crash happens, it's already taking effect now. People's currencies are being devalued everywhere. Turkey, look at their currency. So I think we're already started. People just aren't aware of it. So 2022 is, I don't know how much longer they're going to be able to prop up this economy. With tapering happening, them talking about lifting interest rates, there's no more, quantitative easing. No, it's going to crash. It's going to crash.
Okay, so with crash, you're
going to see, man, really a lot of hardships. The value of things are going up. We already know that they're keeping the ships on the coast away from coming in. So the supply chains are already interrupted. We already know that's on purpose. Start buying seeds to grow your own food. I'm telling you, the food, I never thought I would see it where I live. And I'm in the mountains. We're away from the city. Our own shelves here now are starting to get low. And I'm like, it's already happening. So this event is already in process. But here's what I think about it. Having said that, we know there was a planned event. What I think happened now is it's slipping out of the control. It's happening when they don't want it to, which is good for us. And why that is as it's happening and they're trying to figure out how to stop it, they're not prepared for whatever it is they have set up for us. It's not prepared. So if this happens before they're prepared, that means we can get through on the other side before they do what they need to do. It's not going to happen. Does that make sense? Whatever that final stage was, they're not ready for it. But it's already slipping out of their control, which means we'll be able to rebound from this. And then I think people are going to go, yeah, enough's enough. And they're going to make huge changes around the world to the governments. It's going to happen. This is
So
I
gold,
predict
silver.
campaign. Go to silver.
Mhm.
That you have to have it. If you don't have it, you're not
Okay,
out of the system.
so let's go. So okay, what's the prediction with this crash? December 2022. Where is gold? Where is silver? And where is real estate?
If this crash happens, you're going to see gold probably shoot up somewhere between, because they're going to need to do this to reset everything, somewhere between 10, 15, $20,000 an ounce. So many different predictions and by different people. Without a doubt, all of them at 10,000 or more an ounce. It's impossible not to, because all the money that was created, they're going to want debt forgiveness. So they're going to use gold as their way to get out of the debt for everybody. Silver somewhere, I don't know, around 200 if we have a crash. That's a low side, very, very, very low side, 200. That's the low side. I think if you see, so just take whatever the predictions are for gold, and then remember, historically the ratio is usually 15-1 silver to gold. That means silver will eventually get to where it needs to. Right now our ratio is 80-1. So just take whatever this gold price is divided by 15. That's where our price will be for silver. Okay. I think we're going to be there again. And eventually silver is going to catch gold and pass it. And the reason for that is this Green New Deal is going to make that possible. There's no way for them to do technology at all without silver. It's impossible. There's no synthetic for silver. Synthetic gold.
How about Pimpy, real estate? December 2022, exactly in a year from now.
If we crash, you're going to lose. And the market's going to crash. And so whether it's 2022 or 2023, you're going to look at somewhere between 40, 50, 60% loss in value, maybe more. Now, in the lesson from Cyprus, the first night, the value of the properties dropped 20, 25%. That was the first night. So over time, it ended up being somewhere around 47% total value loss. That's why I keep people like, Pimpy, I'm getting ready to buy a house. I go, wow, if I may make a suggestion, don't. And for those of you who have houses that are really valuable, that's why I'm trying to hear up a remodel mine. I've been remodeling it for a while because my house right now is a $400,000 home. I only owe about less than 100,000 on it. So I'd rather sell it, take the 300,000,
Yes,
pump it into
I
gold and
agree.
silver, wait.
I agree.
I just sit there and wait. Once we get to the other side, I could buy my own house back for,
Yes.
50% cheaper than I sold it for. That's what's going to happen. So houses are going to, banks are going to end up owning houses because they're going to have to foreclose on them. People are going to be upside down. And the banks don't want the houses on their books. That means you could go over and make these cheap offers. You can get like a $600,000 home. Just go, look, I got 100,000 cash right now. Take it off your books. They'll take it because there's too many homes on their books. They don't want them. It happened in 2008.
One more thing I think it's important, just came to me. I want to ask you this.
Go ahead.
What's gonna be, how cash that let's say we have some cash on the side at home, how cash will be affected? Because cash still gives us some leverage, right? Because you don't have to go to ATM, the bank, you have it on your hand. How cash will be affected?
Well, I mean, it's gonna, it's purchasing power. In other words, it's gonna, in some cases, cost more for certain items. But if people lose faith in the dollar, they're gonna ditch the dollar. What are they gonna go to? They're gonna try to find something that has value, most likely gold and silver. You still are gonna have cash as a physical form of need, but or I should say, I don't want to say cash because you don't actually go and pay all cash for the house. The digital form of it. Stay away from the CBDC, but your purchasing power for the dollar is going to drop. You're going to see a huge market correction. Everything is overly valued right now. It's going to drop down to what the real value should be according to the value of our actual dollar. And so I know they're going to try to use that to push us into the CBDC. But if you have gold and silver, when it shoots up in value, you're good to go. Your purchasing power is still good. So yeah, I could trade. I traded silvers for the guy to do the roof of my house. You know what I mean? He took the silver. He wanted 14,000. I gave him like $11,000 worth of silver. He was happy about it. Well, back then, the price I think was like somewhere around $12, $13 an ounce. It's $26 now. So he's happy because he made twice as much. It was a smart move.
Right.
It was cheaper for me, but great for him because he ended up making out. That's how it should be. So you could barter. I think you're going to see gold and silver go up big time when everything crashes, and I mean big. So I wouldn't worry about what the fiat dollar's worth. What you do is you find out the value of the house is going to drop down big time. Your dollar is not going to have, nobody's going to have faith in their dollar, but the dollar's still going to be necessary in order for us to function as a society. And then what you do is you just go, okay, so that house now that was, that I wanted was $300,000, $400,000. I could buy for, around 100, 150,000. If you have gold and silver, then you should jump around, skip, just take it, cash it in for that fake fiat dollar, because your value just blew up on your precious metals. Then take that money and go buy the house outright. Because after a while, once the economy starts to recover and we're stable again, gold and silver tend to come down a little bit, not a lot, but you could see 20, 25% loss in value. So what I do, silver is a sporadic kid. I always joke around and say, silver, when it comes to value, shoots up and shoots down quick. It's like a uncontrollable kid high off crack. You know what I mean? It's like jumps up really fast, where gold takes its time to go up and it takes its time to go down. So at this moment, the ratio of gold and silver is way out of whack. It's 80-1. So buy silver, buy silver, buy silver, buy silver. Okay? Buy silver. You see me do this example in July of 2020. It was 124 ounces of silver for every 1 ounce of gold. That's way out of whack. So if you take your 10 ounces of gold and you trade it for silver, well, you would have 1,240 ounces of silver. Then when the ratio got down around 64-1, you could take those same 1,240 ounces of silver, trade it for gold, but now you have 18 ounces of gold. You gained 8 ounces of gold in less than 4 months once the ratio went back down. You see how that works? People make money off of swapping the metals back and forth.
Yes.
You can do that. But it's gold is what you want to have. But when we are where we are right now, silver is the poor man's gold. Not a lot of people can afford gold. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Silver is going to shoot up when you see a peak, then start selling and buying gold because you'll be able to afford it then. You know what I mean? But
either or, better than paper money, right? And paper money just to have on the side to pay the bills and have a little bit, So
extra
Pimpy,
just in case.
I want to thank you for another year.
No
Conversations,
problem. I appreciate it.
Another year of friendship, and I wish you, first and foremost, I wish you peace in mind, strong spirit, absolute certainty and faith in God, as I know you do have. And I see you on the other side next year. And I know that we will get through this and we will be very, very victorious at the end of the story. I just know it.
We need to come together. We need to unite because we're going to need each other. Community right now is very family community. Right now, I don't care what kind of minor little issue you have with family members. I promise you, in the end, it's whatever you were fighting about is not going to be worth it. Okay? You're going to need each other. So family community is important right now. We're starting to do little community functions. Most people don't even know their own neighbor anymore. Not like they used to be, but now you have to. So you find out, well, what are you good at? There's different trades. Again, I live in the mountains. We have a guy that's still a blacksmith, old school.
Amazing.
I love it. I have another lady, she makes candles. I didn't even know that. She makes soap and candles. So these are good to know.
Oh.
So if you have this silver, you can use it to barter. You got one lady who knows how to make bread. I mean, you have to know these things.
I love this. The craftsmanship,
Yes. It's awesome. So they make, they do pottery. They do, silver.
Mhm.
This one lady could take your silver and she could turn it into a silver spoon. I was like, wait, what? She's like, I can take your silver, melt it down, and make you into,
They
silverware
cannot
for me.
confiscate, Pimpy. That's great. They cannot confiscate. Make it into vase.
Yes, turn it into something. I don't know. Make it a
Make
blob.
make it into a table. Make a table.
Yeah, yeah, just turn it into a blob of ugly. They won't know. They go, what is that? They go, oh, lead. Don't worry about it. Something. But no, when they come to confiscate, I mean, the only reason they can't. If people have this misconception about the confiscation in the 30s when it took place, or was it 20s or 30s? They didn't come to your house door to door. They just said it was outlawed, and most people voluntarily gave their precious metals up. There was a lot of people that didn't. They refused to. They just held on to it. Nothing happened to them.
But one more thing on this, actually. I had this chat a while ago with another gentleman, and you know what he said? It was so on point, actually. He said now people have much more money in cryptocurrencies than in precious metals. So if they confiscate anything, that could be crypto.
Can they? Yeah, they can. Actually, some of the bail-ins say they have the right to even confiscate your crypto. So my
Right,
thought
like
is,
yeah, Bitcoin. Look, I didn't know, like when you do taxes and you don't mention the gains on Bitcoin, this is like what was this in English? It was like you can actually go to jail. I forgot what's
tax
the word
evasion.
for this. Yes.
So they can make all the threats they want. Decentralized platform, they're not going to be able to control. That's why they can't stand decentralized platforms. The problem is, if you're going to be committed to cryptocurrencies, you have to be all in. In other words, that is your form of payment for everything. And you got to hope that where you go accepts cryptocurrencies, period. Because if not, when you go to cash out your cryptocurrency, well, now you're back in the system because it goes from the crypto into your bank account. You see what I'm saying? Once it's in your bank account, you're now back into the system. So that's the one thing that I fear about cryptos. So people are like, well, fine, I'm on a decentralized platform, neener, come and get me. Well, what happens if they go after all companies that accept it, saying that if we find that you're accepting cryptocurrency as a form of payment, this will be your punishment? Then you're limited on what you can and can't buy. You see what I'm saying? That's the thing that scares me. Now they're talking about the new type of platform that's out there right now. Even if the power went out, they don't have to worry about it because it stays up. You have what's called Wi-Fi. If you have any light in your house, you're connected to the internet. It's the craziest thing. So that type of technology is out there. Again, my fear is that they just outlaw cryptos altogether. It's a bubble. So there's no reason for Bitcoin to be worth $50,000. What gives it its value? Nothing. Only because people believe it's that valuable. And as long as they believe its value, then it has that value. That's the same with anything for that matter. But there's nothing behind cryptos.
But look, when you dig into those corrupted individuals, right? They put a lot of the money into Bitcoin.
Yes.
And
well,
that's
just Bitcoin.
Right, but mainly, not just, but as far as crypto, a lot.
Well, crypto makes it very easy for you to launder money. So simple. Just put it into your account, say it's a gain, and pull it out. It's clean money. That's what the government doesn't like. Besides, it's a major competitor to any country's local currency. They can't compete with it because people have more faith in cryptocurrency than they do their own dollars. Okay. When we seen the El Salvador start going to Bitcoin, right? El Salvador, the savior. That's what that means. So when Bitcoin became their official currency of the nation, well, one, that was a good thing, but two, I would not have just said Bitcoin. I would have said cryptocurrencies, because the powers that be can manipulate any one currency just by buying a large amount of it and drive the value down. And it took a huge dip. So not just Bitcoin. I think if they're smart, any country that wants to move to cryptocurrencies as a way to escape the clutches of the United States and the SWIFT system, so you're not punished, then you open up that all cryptocurrencies are now a form of currency. You can do business that way. I would do it that way. This way, then, if they can't just grab any one cryptocurrency, that's just my opinion. So the taxes and stuff, they can keep track of it. They know what's going on with it because it's on an open ledger. It's decentralized. They can't control it. In other words, they can't get in or manipulate it. It's out of control. Centralized, they can get in to mess with, not decentralized. But if they outlaw cryptocurrencies everywhere, then that means you are stuck in that system with your money.
Yeah.
That means if you have to buy goods, you got to hope that the goods that you want to buy, some company is allowing you to use the crypto as the payment. Because if
Not
they,
your grocery store, not your grocery
Yeah.
store.
yeah, but if they force people by punishing them severely for accepting cryptocurrencies, no company is going to want to tumble with any government. They're just going to cave in, is what's going to happen. Then great, congratulations. You have a ton of cryptocurrencies worth what? You can't do anything with it. Nothing at all. And the only way it's successful is when you get the masses to adopt it, companies
Mhm.
around the world to accept it.
It's agreement, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
But
agreement,
if
yes.
the government squeezes them, which is what they're going to do, if they squeeze them and there's nobody accepting it for goods and services, then what good is the value of the cryptocurrency? You see, I could walk any place and use gold and silver because everybody knows what gold and silver is. They do. I told you I did my roof. You know what I mean? The guy's still
Yes.
going to do another services. And he wants paid in precious metals, which I stopped. I just give him cash, but you know, like no,
So,
no.
Pimpy,
Yes.
we're gonna end here. I want to wish you, you know what, a lot of miracles in 2022. I want to wish both of us a lot of beautiful miracles, and I want us to experience a great year in every sense of it. Because
We
through those
have the
hardships, we actually become more, you know?
Yeah. Look, if everybody just put positive energy into the world, you could change it with love. I know that sounds corny, but it's the God's truth. God's truth. Everything is based on vibrational pattern. It's just hard because we get sucked into this vampirist state
Mhm.
where you listen, you want to know what's going on. The fear drives that, you know. So if we can get out of that, even I'm guilty of being in it, knowing what I know, just because I'm trying so hard to inform as many people as possible.
Yes.
So I want to say this to you. I want to say, well, Merry Christmas already passed. I want to wish you a happy holiday and a great new year. And I hope that you have a very safe and blessed holiday so that we can continue to talk to one another. And I look forward to
Thank
it,
you.
knowing that you're over there. So keep making those videos, sweetie. Just you made me feel Christmas for the first time in so
Thank
long.
you. You know, it's I think this is exactly, we know we are always provided. We are provided whatever we need in life. That's how I look at this. The right people, the right information, the resources, the food, the ideas, whatever it is. And it's up to us if we, you know, like, the energy cannot be stagnant. We have to share it. Like, you're
Yeah.
sharing your knowledge, you're sharing your experiences, I'm doing the same. And it's how we give energy out there, and that energy comes back to us. That's how it
Yeah,
is.
what you put in
And
it, hey, look what you put in the universe comes back to you. So you just have to be careful.
always.
For those of you
Thank you
wondering
so
why
much.
it looks so freaky right now, it is really dark and snowing where I'm at. So even with the lights on, it makes it look real dim. That's kind of freaky, but that's what's going on. That I'm from the future. Oh,
From
no,
the
just kidding.
future. Thank you so much, Pimpy. And I'm
Thank you,
gonna
sweetie.
stop the recording right here. Let me see how
Bye,
we do this
everyone.
now. How we do this